Welcome into the Bad Fan. Today's Bad Fans, we will dive back into the dumpster fire that is Manchester United with a special guest. The dramatic conclusion between Chelsea and Tottenham at Stamford Bridge that left the football world begging for more, and more of our biggest overreactions from Premier League so far. So your journey with the Bad Fan begins now. I'm your host, Cole Carter, and I'm glad you have tuned in with us. And I'm joined today by my fellow footsie-loving friends, Brandon Pasnick and Stephen Curl, and our special guest today, Jacob Currian. Fellas, what is up? Welcome in. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing well. The weather here in Columbus is absolutely amazing. It's like high of 80 maybe, and it's a little windy. The sun's out. Oh, it's gorgeous. And we have an amazing guest today.
Yeah, we do. Stephen, we'll get to you real quick. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. The weather here in Atlanta is interesting. I just got rained on trying to get soft serve at my local ice cream shop, Big Softy. So I got drenched in the rain, but the ice cream was worth it. So I'm doing pretty good tonight.
And Jacob, welcome in the first time on the Bad Fan. You were a part of our Bad Fan Cam, which we appreciate. But you're now on the podcast for the first time. How you feeling?
Thank you. Very excited. Not excited about the topic that we'll be discussing, but very excited to be here and honored. So thanks for having me.
It is a tough time being a Man U fan, but hey, we love that shirt. Show off that thing a little bit. That looks awesome. Got the long sleeve, Man U.
Yeah, this is a, gotta say, probably a 03-04 away kit. A very good friend of mine gifted this to me. It's just the sweetest gift I've ever received. Hasn't brought me a lot of luck, to be fair. So
yeah, not much to cheer about, especially this season so far. Brandon got the Black Villa kit on. I love that one so much.
It's pretty nice. You can't really see the stripes in there, but it's nice. It does have Jack Grealish on the back. But he's going to have a good year, hopefully, for him. I don't really care at this point, but yeah.
Special kit. Well, as we talked about, are going to do a little Premier League review, and we're going to start off with what was probably the most shocking result of match week 2, and that is Brentford and Manchester United. Whew. I mean, if you watch this one, it had to have left you speechless. I mean, the end result was 4-0 in favor of Brentford, which coming into the week, no one would have predicted this one. I think one pundit said that in a pregame thing, and literally his co-hosts were laughing at him, and he was right. And so this one started off, I would argue, solely on David De Gea. He made a mistake that I think he made against Tottenham as well, in that kind of project restart. Just a goal that was so easy to make typically for him. You know, he's a world-class keeper, and he just lets this one go through his hands, and probably makes that mistake, one of 100 times, you guys would say?
Probably.
He did that in the World Cup against Cristiano Ronaldo in the last World Cup, but haven't seen it, other than maybe that Tottenham game. But,
it's just so out of character with him. And then the second goal, again, coming from De Gea's feet to Christian Eriksen, putting Eriksen under a lot of pressure, him coming back towards his own goal, right, with a man on his back, and just, I don't know, just seemed like a boneheaded mistake. It'd just be so much easier to boot the ball down to midfield and get the ball out of your area when you know your defense is going to be under pressure with that Brentford press. But that went down 2-0. And then, Brandon, what happened after that one?
Yeah, the third goal was from a corner. Ben Mee scored it, falling down. Is it Martinez or Alvarez? I might have
Martinez.
Sorry, yeah, Martinez. He's a 5'9" center back, so you can see where the mistake is.
I just want to go on record. I just want to go on record and saying, in the lead up to that corner kick, there was a cross that came in. Literally, whoever it was that was in the box for Brentford stuck his hand out, and it hit. They showed the replay 3 times during the broadcast. It smacked his hand, and it was like all the way out here. Commentators didn't say anything. They just watched the replay happen 3 times with the ball hitting his hand, and then they scored. I mean, it is a horrible defense, but that goal should have never happened. That's the last time I'm going to say that.
It is one of those unfortunate things in soccer, though, right? Like, it goes off. It's sort of like going off the wrong player, and it's getting called a corner when it should be a goal kick, and then they have now a chance at goal, and they score it, and you're like, well, it should have never even happened, but VAR can't intervene. It's sort of one of those weird, annoying things that soccer does sometimes. But
sadly,
what happened? On the fourth goal, what happened, Jacob?
Oh, that was just I was saying, sadly, a just terrible getting caught out and very much in attack. We had about 8 guys in the box, and then just about as perfect of a counterattack as you can have from these Brentford players. I mean, 2 passes and they were in. Terrible effort from Luke Shaw running back. Just absolutely, I mean, he sprinted back and then just stayed behind him the whole time, kind of stuck a leg in there, and yeah, just a great finish. And I mean, a perfectly executed counterattack. Can't ask for anything better than that. 2 passes and they were in on goal. And yeah, we just had nothing to stop it.
Was it any worse that they were playing in the Mountain Dew kits? Are they ever going to be able to wear those jerseys again?
God, I hope they never. We could just all make the decision here to burn those. It was so sad. The Manchester United social media had about 8 or 9 posts about these new kits with like all the shoots and everything, and then it was just like halftime 4-0, full time 4-0. It was just like it was just disgusting, just absolutely disgusting.
Hey, at least you'll be able to get it on sale at the end of the season now. That's positive for somebody.
Maybe tomorrow.
Might have to scoop on that. Especially if what happens next, if they terminate Cristiano Ronaldo's contract, might even get a Ronaldo jersey on sale. What do we think about this one, Steven? You think Ronaldo's on his way out after that result?
I mean, he would like to be. He would like to be out of there before the season even started. But I don't know what Ronaldo – I don't know what this rumor really is. I mean, he has a contract. He's going to play. He's got nowhere else to go. I can't really see this happening. I don't think terminating Cristiano Ronaldo's contract is going to help any more than where they already are. I think you have to look at Ronaldo this year as not your primary focus. I think everybody's been quite clear on the problems at Manchester United. It goes beyond the current player personnel. It goes beyond this squad right now. It's higher up. It's long-term. They need to focus on building blocks. And at the end of the day, Cristiano Ronaldo is going to put people in the seats. I'm sure the fan bases might be a little bit divided on him, but I don't think Manchester United's biggest problem is Cristiano Ronaldo. He might be the biggest personality on the club right now, and everybody's looking at him, but it should be diverted elsewhere across the pond, the United States, to the Glazer family, the appointments of sporting directors that they should be making, scouting, and presidents of the club. So I don't know. This Ronaldo business, sure. I mean, you could terminate his contract. Cool. I think if he stays or if he goes is no difference to Manchester United because they're going to be horrible either way.
Yeah. Jacob, what do you make of the Ronaldo situation?
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing to have like a club legend who is just unhappy. And, every Manchester United fan loves Cristiano Ronaldo and just everything that he's done for the club. And so it's really, really terrible to see like just someone who's so unhappy and who tried everything he could do to get out. But at the same time, it's kind of, he's still very competitive. He still believes he's just as good as he used to be. And so, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He wants to play in the Champions League. He wants to be at a competitive club. And I think he knows, I think he's seen the writing on the wall. It's just kind of, I wish, it's more of like a motivating, like, no, I'm going to stick around and like help fix things and not like oh no, let me get out of here. So it's really disappointing. I'm glad he stuck around because there's no one else on the team that I at all expect or trust to score goals. And so, I mean, if we can get some forward service, maybe we'll see a couple of those, but we'll see if that's even possible.
And another quick note on Cristiano Ronaldo is I think that he would be, I mean, we have to know that there's another transfer window in January.
This one's not closed yet either. He was just re-linked with Atletico Madrid today. I know you said earlier it's not ever going to happen.
The Galacticos said that, not me. But I don't know. I'm thinking of Cristiano Ronaldo, a way to ride off into the sunset and maybe even collect 6 Champions League. Could be a January move. You sit down with the Manchester United board. You say, listen, I'll stay at this dumpster fire. I'll score 15 goals. It's in his best interest. Injuries happen throughout other leagues in Europe. Maybe he gets bought in January or gone on for free. Who knows? after United just get some goals or stability up front from him. I don't know. The January move also can't be ruled out as well. So it's definitely not 100%, I think, staying the entire season or leaving this window. But that's a good point, though, about Atletico. They have resurfaced back to the news again.
Brandon, what are the other rumors right now swirling around Man U on a possible replacement or someone to come in with Ronaldo?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is like in talks, like if there's a sort of swap plus cash or what is going on with this. Mateus Cunha, I think is maybe how you pronounce it. He's Brazilian, 23 years old, from Atletico Madrid, striker, and the rumored price is £42 million. Last year he had 7 goals, 6 assists. The year before for Hertha Berlin in the Bundesliga, he had 8 goals, 7 assists. If you can get a young guy who's hungry, that's a great signing. However, £42 million, you're going to take that much of a risk. You might as well just go sign like a guy from the Championship or Ivan Toney, or sign someone who's here already, or knows the league. I don't know. I don't see where this necessarily helps Man U. I could definitely be totally wrong. Could be, one of those wonder signings. You're like, oh my God, where'd this kid come from? But I don't know much about that one.
Fair enough. And Steven, you mentioned this one the other day. Jamie Vardy potentially being a player for them. What might that look like?
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, Leicester City isn't signing anybody, and I think they're definitely shedding off a lot of weight right now at their club. Only linked, I feel like, with transferring players out. So Vardy could be a fit. Mentioned it last week. Would probably get him off the wage books at Leicester. He's paid some really high wages. Could be a cheap move for United. Proven goal scorer, English. Could be a cool PR move. Something that you could have for this year and next. This would be assuming a Cristiano Ronaldo transfer out of the club, if this were to take place. But yeah, it's the English striker that's done nothing in the Premier League but score goals. And he's kind of had his day in the sun. He's won the Premier League and gets to play for still. Manchester United's one of the biggest clubs in the world. I don't know Vardy's relationship with United, maybe as a fan or not, I don't know. But he's Leicester through and through, so it feels kind of weird to see him if he were to move to Manchester. But yeah, this move's picked up some momentum a little bit with Sky and the Sun reporting a little bit on it. But honestly, at this point with Manchester United press, one day it's Chicharito, one day it's Arnautovic, who knows? Maybe I'll play with them. I scored 2 goals this year.
You do never know. Jacob, I'll point this one to you. Is there anyone that Manchester United had been linked with? It doesn't have to be a striker necessarily, that would make you excited or intrigued to help make your team better?
Yeah, I saw we're close to a deal with like Rabiot. In my head, it's another mid-tier midfielder. I'm all about having more options in the midfield just because of how terrible it is right now. But I don't think that's going to move the needle much. The most interesting one I saw was Serginho Dest at right back, and strictly from the fact that he's like an American, and it'd just be fun to have someone to root for. I root for team, but it'd just be really fun to see a really talented American on the team. And just, again, for our World Cup chances, we got to get some more guys, some more playing time in some top leagues. So I'd love to see Serginho Dest come over. I also think he's a very talented right back, very attack-minded, and I've just been pretty disgusted with the play of Dalot that I have seen. And obviously, Aaron Wan-Bissaka apparently isn't going to cut it for Eric Ten Hag. So, interestingly enough, I saw that Xavi Hernandez at Barcelona had a short list for right backs he wanted to get, and both Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka were on it. Huh. And that made no sense to me whatsoever. But apparently, there's some mutual like, hey, let's swap some guys because I think they're ready to move on from Dest, and we're clearly ready to move on from Wan-Bissaka and Dalot.
That's a strange situation. Do any of you three have any insight on why the Spider, Wan-Bissaka, is out of favor just because of performances, or just like Ten Hag just doesn't prefer him? Do we really know much about that?
If I had to guess, it's because he can't play the ball with his feet. He can only tackle. Does Ten Hag play a back three? Do you know, or is he back four?
He's been playing a back four. There have been times, just from the research I saw, there where he'll play a back three and then kind of have a wing back, kind of drift back into a four and then kind of go up with the attack. But for the most part, we've just been lining up in a back four.
I was gonna say, because he seems like he'd be a really good right center back in a back three. But yeah, the fact that he can't cross, pass, any of that probably points to a lot of reasons why he's out of favor, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago. I feel like people were singing his praises. Maybe I'm wrong or mistaken, but I just feel like he was there not that long ago.
I remember Tyler Arnold screaming downstairs when we were watching Premier League, saying, "The human spider!" First of all, just jazzed about Bissaka being at United, but it feels like he's, no longer the human spider.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Well, Jacob, again, you're the Man U guy here. We're trying to get the most we can out of you. If you could have had a perfect transfer window, what would that have looked like for you?
Okay, perfect. This is going to be obviously, outside of the realm of possibility, but this is just people we were linked to that I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's a shot this summer. But I mean, essentially strengthening every single position, but
easy.
Just to keep it short. I mean, a new striker would have been perfect. Obviously, someone with the quality level of like a Darwin Nunez or Erling Haaland. I'll use a specific example of Harry Kane. We were very much linked to him and have been linked to him. And it would have been amazing to bring that kind of a player to come score some goals with Ronaldo up top. And then in the midfield, Declan Rice. We've been linked with him forever. Declan Rice out of West Ham, and he's a phenomenal central defensive midfielder that we clearly could use because the McFred combination will never, ever, ever work. And he's just a high quality, really talented player who loves to get stuck in and loves to distribute the ball. And I think I really like his attitude too. He flies into tackles and he doesn't really ever give up on a play. And so anyways, that's the exact kind of player we need on the team. And so it would have been great to have him. And then essentially, like, there were a million center backs on the move. I feel like Chelsea completely flopped out. There were plenty of center backs available on the market. None of them wanted to come here, and we'll see how Martinez turns out. But I mean, I would have loved to have a more established center back that just kind of at the elite level, whether that's like a Koulibaly or whether that's who left Chelsea. Rudiger. Rudiger. Like any of those guys, just that were very proven at the high level. De Ligt
would have been. De Ligt would have been a good signing. I don't understand why he didn't come to Premier League. I feel like he'd be a good fit to have in England, but
I think the Bayern move is really easy. You get paid a lot, and you're guaranteed to win your league and play in the Champions League. So Anyways, again, he would have been amazing. Just any elite center back, but again, every position.
And that's the thing too. We talked about this the other day on our episode, and it's just like we keep reiterating the fact that everything needs to be changed up. Like there's almost nothing that feels safe or feels like it's elite. Maybe David De Gea, but he just showed his flaws this past week, and so it's just like, what is worth keeping here? It's like you just spent, I don't know, was it 80 million on Sancho last season? We keep talking about Rashford's value. We keep talking about just so many wasted talents. And it's just, I don't know, Man U is not in a good place. And so if you're looking towards next week, you have a huge matchup against a Liverpool team that has actually struggled so far this season, but it's like, do you continue to put out that same team that Ten Hag is doing, or do you mix things up and put in some youngsters against Liverpool? Like, what does this team need to even stand a chance against Liverpool coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, watched the Liverpool match today. Crystal Palace had a really, really great plan. I think they had five in the back. I think they played like a 5-3-2 or 5-2-3, and defended, sucked in all the pressure, all the possession that Liverpool had, and then struck on the counterattack, which was a really great strategy. And they almost got the 3 points. Arguably, when Liverpool went down to 10 men, they clearly should have tried to attack more, but anyways, they came out with a point. But who I would love to see on the field is just anyone who has shown a shred of having any sort of pride to play for the club. Because at this point, the 11 that we have out there might be on paper like what we have is the most talented 11 that we could put out there. But clearly, no one's heart is in. When you watch this play, I mean, what was it? Brentford outran the team by like 8.5 miles. Or something. Like the work rate of those Brentford players was amazing to watch. It was every single pass there was someone on someone's back. Every single shot, every single cross in the box had a foot like deflecting it. Everyone was doing exactly what they needed to do, like the whole 90 minutes. Like no one stopped, no one took a break, and you could just tell as soon as we let in that first goal, the game was over. I knew we were going to lose. I knew we weren't going to come back. I mean, it's kind of that mentality of if we let in a goal quickly, which has happened in every game of the last maybe 8 or 9 games going back to last season, we're guaranteed to hang our heads, pout, and not put in a good shift. And so specifically though, I mean, we're going to have to start the same top 3. We're going to have to start Ronaldo up there. We're going to have to throw Sancho out there, and we're going to have to start Rashford just because we need the speed on the counterattack. And so having Sancho and Rashford out there are going to be perfect to do that. And then in the midfield, we're going to have to keep Bruno and Christian Eriksen. And then, I mean, I would love to see some youngster play like a James Garner. I know apparently we've made the decision that we're going to move on from him and try to sell him. But if anything, maybe just put him out there to get his talents shown a little bit to generate some interest in getting him sold. But I mean, he had a phenomenal season last year in the Championship. He's academy product. He loves the club. I mean, if anyone's going to get in and get stuck in on some challenges, like that's going to be the guy in central midfield. And then in defense, I am so sorry, but there's not a single game more that I want Harry Maguire starting on this team. This especially when we're playing Liverpool, like I get he's the captain, and I'm pretty sure there's no other reason that he is continued to start other than that Ten Hag is being like forced to play him just for PR purposes of like, this is a guy who spent 85 million, the most expensive center back ever, captain of the club. You have to start him. Not in my book. Like I think that might be outside of his control, unfortunately. But I would love to see a Varane, and I mean we're gonna have to play Martinez. There's no one else that I could. I mean, I don't want to put Bailly back there. I don't know if he's ready to go. He also does not have the passing abilities that Martinez has. But speaking of Spider, I would love to bring him back just specifically for his defensive prowess. So even if it does turn out that we're throwing in 3 center backs because Wan-Bissaka doesn't do anything going forward, that's great for me. I would love to have him locking down the right side of the field. And then at left back, Malacia. I cannot stand to see Luke Shaw playing anymore until he gets his stuff together.
Lays off the McDouble.
Yeah. He's apparently the fastest guy on the team and couldn't catch up on the counterattack. Anyway,
I have an impromptu question for Jacob, if that's okay.
Oh, of course.
Oh my God, here we go. So just looking back on here, I was saying Manchester United back in 2018, 2019 finished 6th, right? Behind Arsenal. And they ended up the next season going on to finish 3rd in the 2019-2020 season. And then kind of since then have kind of been in that top 4 conversation. So just with them finishing 6th last year, is this just because you're mentioning playing Gardner, are we like completely writing off? Because United has kind of like hovered around mediocrity over the past like 6-7 years.
It's almost a decade at this point.
But you think about 10 years, like this is a team that started off last season, whether it was silly or not or whatever, people talked about potential title contenders. With the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo, like, this is a team that's finished second multiple times, made the champions. Like, European football hasn't been their strong suit whatsoever over the past 10 years, like, for sure. But domestically, when we're talking about the Premier League, is it the high standard of United that anything but, like, this is a team that's finished second twice within the past, like, 5 years. And it's a team in free fall. Like, that 2018-2019 season, they finished sixth, but then went on to finish third the next year. Are we completely writing off champions? Because I feel like United has enough money, enough branding, and it is a big enough club to kind of teeter. Is this like a full teardown, you think? Or is it kind of shedding some weight? I mean, we got rid of 8 players off of United this past summer, right? And so I'm just kind of curious, expectation-wise, this is a team that's kind of hovered on that mediocrity part that we've talked about over the past 10 years. Like, almost everybody that watches Premier League football would say that. But they've also finished second a few times and had some fun Champions League runs. I'm thinking of that, them knocking out PSG. Like, how far removed, like, when we talk about mediocrity, like, beyond that blanket statement, Jacob, where are you at as far as a United fan yourself with expectations for this club this year?
Yeah, so I mean, I think even just from my preseason video too, of like, we are one of the biggest clubs in the world. We should always have the expectation of finishing at least playing Champions League football. We should always be challenging for titles. Clearly, realistically, we were not anywhere close to challenging for a title this season, and I knew that coming in. And so that, I mean, my expectations wasn't for that at all. But it was to get in and play some more Champions League, because we're not going to be able to make, unfortunately, the name recognition and the size of the club is not drawing in the talent that it used to. And part of that has been because we have not consistently been playing in the Champions League. Everyone loves playing in the Champions League. And I get it. I mean, I understand why you wouldn't want to come play for a club that's playing in the Europa League or maybe the Europa Conference League. Honestly, I think it would be better for us to finish outside of all of those and just not even have that to worry about. Because I think players would rather not play in any of those international competitions than miss out on the Champions League. So all that to say, I think I think the state of Manchester United has been that of like a watermelon. And that every single year, the Glazers, money gets spent, players get bought, people get sold, and, it's all green. Preseason, we win some preseason games. Oh, like, we bring in some new managers. Like, everything's going to be fine. It's green on the outside. Like, we're going to have a great season. There's all this excitement. And then if you look at the inside of the watermelon, it's red. We're absolutely not in the good kind of, like, Manchester red. Like, I'm talking, like, bad red. Like, it's a rotten,
like Brentford
rotten
red.
Like, yeah, like it's rotten on the inside, and we just have a nice paint job on the outside. And I think you can see clearly from the direction we hired Ralph Ragnick with the goal of tearing things down and starting over, implementing a new system, giving him the control to hopefully make some decisions that were going to be helpful. And after barely a year or within a year, he was gone, and we started over.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Exactly. And I think he was very honest. He gave his honest opinions about having open heart surgery on the club, and I don't think the people up top love that. And it doesn't make any sense to me, because exactly what this team and this club need is honesty about how to address the issues that are clearly there in putting out a first team that's actually going to compete. And so honestly, it's been really hard to have expectations that are for challenging any titles in the next couple of years, because of the squad that we have currently. And it feels like the mentality isn't there. Again, like I said earlier, like, it feels like if we give up a goal, there's no chance that we're going to win the game. Whereas even 2-3 years ago, even last year, it was kind of a given that we were going to concede a goal, and then we would come back and win. And so it was kind of like, let's just get it out of the way so we can actually start playing. Because it's kind of what it took to kick these guys in the pants to get them to start playing. But, I mean, towards the end of the season, we clearly saw, and then up until now, I think just the toil of the media and the constant pressure and the fans and everyone looking for heads, I think has very much taken a toll on these guys' mental capacity. And Some guys just aren't cut out for it. And unfortunately, we're going to continue to see early letting goals and more losses this season.
Brandon, what should Man U's expectations be going the rest of the way?
I don't know. I think they have to be realistic with themselves, like Jacob just was, especially their fans. I mean, I think they are there now. I think all fans are feeling what Jacob is feeling. I've even talked to my mom, who's a Manchester United fan, and she's over it. I told her not to watch the game. She was all golfing or something. She recorded it and went back and watched it and was so upset that she watched it. I tried to warn her.
Sure.
But where does Manchester United go? Realize that you are a 8th place to 12th place team right now, I think, as things stand. The level of talent on that team is low in some areas and high in others. And they have not gelled well together at all. I don't, I said they would end up 5th this year, and I still don't think that's out of any realm of possibility. But it is a scary place when you see a giant that is Manchester United fall and take a punch and keep taking punches. And honestly, I think if Ronaldo leaves, that's not a knockout punch, but that is a massive blow. Ronaldo is a goal scorer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Man U has a backup striker. Jacob, do they?
I mean, Anthony Elanga, who can play at the 9, but mainly plays out wide.
And I was surprised you actually didn't want to play him this weekend just to try to switch things up. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but I just don't know what it's going to take to turn this around. It just seems really doom and gloom, and just trying to work things out through my head. They have good players, they have okay players, and they have awful players who wouldn't get into Brentford, who wouldn't get into Nottingham Forest probably. And so it's like, how are they playing at Manchester United? Is it because in their contracts, their horrible contracts, that they have to play a certain amount of games or a certain amount of minutes? Because that's probably, honestly, that's probably what a lot of this is. Jacob alluded to it. Harry Maguire has to start every week because he's the captain of England, or one of them, and he's the captain of Manchester United. And also, probably in his massive contract, it says he has to play 90% of games. So I feel bad for Ten Hag in a lot of ways. I think he's probably handcuffed with a lot of these players, to be honest. And honestly, probably doesn't have a lot of choice when it comes to picking the team. And to picking transfers even. We've heard that in the past with other managers, and it's sort of funny to see, what Jose said a couple years ago sort of come to life, you'll see what happens. And it's rotten. The club is rotten. Manchester United has spent money over the last couple of years, but it's been the club's money. It hasn't been out of the pockets of any of the owners. So that's okay, right? They're big enough where they can do that, but that sum of money is running out, and it is basically out. I forget what the actual number is, but it's estimated there's only 20 million pounds left in this annual sum or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but and the owners aren't putting any more in. So what they have is what they have, and it's based off of marketing, jersey sale, all whatever it is. And so you can see why, like Jacob said earlier, again, they sent 100 tweets out about the green jerseys because they want you to buy the jerseys. They sent 100 tweets out about Ronaldo and Harry Maguire and whoever else because they need you to click and they need you to buy. But the owners themselves aren't really worried about what actually is happening. They're really worried about their dividends at the end of the year, right? What can they take off the top? Yeah, it's tough. If they don't start to turn it around by December, they not relegation, but man, they look bad. And if I can ask a question, last question, and we'll move on sort of quickly because I know we've been on this for a while and Jacob's been on the hot seat. But how do you feel about Ten Hag? Honestly, Like, where do you think he's at? Is he on a hot seat? How much time would you give him? Like, what do you think he needs? Even just his situation. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I just kind of it's been 2 games and they've gone about as poorly as possible. And so it's kind of a nightmare start. And so, knee-jerk reaction from a lot of people is like, oh, it's this guy's fault. And clearly, I don't think there's obviously a big jump, right, from the Dutch league over to the Premier League. But I don't know if it's necessarily like, oh, this guy's just like not ready for the job. He can't game plan a game. Like, I think he's a very, very smart, brilliant manager. And I think he has a system that he wants to put in place, and he doesn't have the right players to put it in place. And so there's part of me that wants him to adjust to what he has to make the best of what he can do. Right. Just again, specifically for like a Liverpool game. But at the same time, clearly he needs time to get the players, the kind of players that he needs, to get rid of the players that he wants no business with. And so, that the same could be said for any of the past 5 managers that Manchester United have had. We give them a year, or we give them less than that, and we can them when things don't go perfectly, and just we have a scapegoat to throw stuff at, so that all the attention is taken away from the owners. And so any of the managers, even Ole, he got a year and a half or 2, but any of the managers, need to have at least 3 or 4 years. We need some continuity. And I get that we're a club that expects results, but we're not going to get any results with the squad that we have if the manager isn't given time to implement their system, to get the people in that they want, and to build, some trust and some rapport and some respect with the players. Because, you can yell and shout and scream at these guys, but if you don't have their respect or any sort of relationship with them, then they're not going to play for you. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Good point.
And a quick note on optimism: Fergie's first year at Manchester United, I believe he finished 8th or 9th on the table, and I think he only had 1 player from that roster that he inherited on the championship-winning team that he had for his first time winning the title with Manchester United. So, yeah, time is the answer.
Absolutely, time is the answer, and that is my hope for this manager, is that he's given the time and some freedom to get rid of some guys and bring some in. So we can only hope.
Yep. Time is the answer. Well, I think the aside from this game wasn't supposed to be the biggest one, but it ended up being because of the result, Man U and Brentford. But I think the one coming into the weekend, everyone was looking at Chelsea versus Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. This one had all the drama. It had fiery spirit from both managers on the sidelines. It had late goals. It had controversy through and through. This one finished 2-2. And just want to kind of capture the moment here. The idea that Chelsea's been dominating Tottenham for, it feels like, 3 years or so. And last year, I think they beat them 4 or 5 times. And so coming in this game, Antonio Conte and his boys from Tottenham had something to prove. And people are, from the Chelsea side, maybe even the neutrals, are trying to figure out if Anthony Taylor let this one get out of his control. People upset with both Tottenham goals, talking about, was Richarlison interfering with Mendy's line of sight in an offside position when Højbjerg scored from outside the box? Did Romero deserve violent conduct for his interaction with Cucurella? So many things going on in this one. The goal just between Conte and Tuchel is just amazing. Even the follow-up, I don't know if you guys saw Conte's Instagram story. Did you guys see that? The post of him? I wish I had been able to trip you or something like that to make it better. Essentially, it was like what he said. So this one had almost everything you could ask for. I want to hear from Steven, just your initial reactions of watching the game, the emotion that you felt. Is this the result that Tottenham needed, or do they need to get the win to help push them through the rest of the season?
Context is everything, my friend. I think a 2-2 draw I would have definitely been satisfied with going into the weekend. However, the way the 2-2 draw took place, it's got to feel like a Tottenham win, right? The emotion, it was a fantastic game for the neutral. Don't let the missed calls or any of that fool you. It was just a great game of football. So it's exactly what Tottenham needed. They picked up points away on paper, that's what you have to do if you're going to be competitive and try to make those top 4 spots in the Premier League. Feel really good after the result. Sure, Chelsea had more possession, more shots, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I mean, the goal from Højbjerg, like I was watching it on my phone in a Publix parking lot and screamed in the car. I was so excited. And then I went inside and saw Jacob at the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. But no, it's exactly what you want. It's what you want out of your coach. If you're a Chelsea fan, it's what you want out of your coach as well, Thomas Tuchel. That can't be understated that can't go understated either. So it's just a fantastic game for the neutral. Fantastic game for Spurs fans. Late winner, Harry Kane. That's a good way to get on the score sheet the month of August.
Amazing.
Doesn't seem like he's struggling in the beginning of the season anymore. So that's good to see. So Tottenham fans should get excited, believe the hype, and get your dreams crushed in May.
Hey, not this year. Brandon, how about that goal from Koulibaly? Did he mean to score like that or just happens chance?
Oh, no, he definitely meant it. It was gorgeous. You could tell it was from the training ground, actually. You could definitely tell because Tottenham was set up for a in-swinger, I believe. That's why they hugged the near post. Chelsea put like 3. They overloaded the back post or like the back into the box, expecting that ball to come over. It was gorgeous, a gorgeous strike. I actually rewatched the highlights today just to remind myself of how good the game it was. And I was like, oh my God, that might be the goal of the week. It was gorgeous.
Banger.
Death,
Jacob,
taxes, and Tottenham giving up goals on set pieces.
Death, taxes, and Chelsea defenders scoring on Tottenham is the real thing. Jacob, did you see the incident between Cucurella and Romero? And if you did, what were your thoughts on the hair pulling incident?
Yeah, just in the replay, I actually missed most of the game because I was at the store with Steven. But yeah, just watched the full replay. And I saw some of those. And I got a little bit of flack for talking about goals that shouldn't have happened if things were called correctly. So I don't think I have a comment on some missed calls. But I will just say it's very interesting to think about.
Honestly, yeah, go ahead. Jacob went the Mourinho way. I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in trouble.
I'll answer as a neutral. First of all, the game was amazing. Second of all, Chelsea wasted a lot of chances. Third of all, that definitely should have been a red card, and the last goal shouldn't have gone in. Now, the biggest one that I'm actually on the fence on and like can't figure out where I stand is the first Tottenham goal that Tuchel thought shouldn't have been allowed because Richarlison was offside. Now, I went back and watched it, like I said, and he is in the way when the ball is struck of Mendy. Mendy's leaning to see around him, and the ball is struck across Koulibaly and Richarlison. So Mendy's on one side trying to see the strike. It does cross the other way, so then he can't react ideally as quickly as he could. But there is also so much space. The ball was hit outside the box. There's so much space between the ball getting struck and the goal. So I think there's enough time for Mendy to react. So I don't know where I sit with that. I get why Chelsea fans are really upset. In one day it's called offside. The next day, as it did in this game, it's not. Very, very interesting, though. We'll see. I don't think people are going for Anthony Taylor's head, the referee. Referees let things go sometimes that don't make sense. I don't think he was great on the day, to be fair, but I can see why that first one was allowed.
I don't know the rule specifically. I don't know if you guys know. So the ball went off Koulibaly's foot. Does that negate Richarlison's offside position if it goes off of his foot into the goal?
If he's blocking, no. If he's playing the ball, yes.
Okay, so him putting his foot out and it going off the top of his foot does not negate the offside.
I don't think so, no.
My rule book, it does.
So, okay, here's my thoughts. A couple things. One, I think Chelsea's second goal also had a moment where it could have had a missed call. I think Klubai didn't win the ball cleanly from Kulusevski on the sideline. I think he missed the ball and just took out Kulusevski, and then they went and scored on that one. So again, I think it goes both ways. If you're going to call things and not call things, I think equally Chelsea had their opportunity with that goal. The whole Cucurella-Romero thing, I don't think it's violent conduct. And again, the way it's explained to me, it's like
in the rule book, it's not violent conduct.
And so it's like, and you can't bring it back, I don't think, unless it is violent conduct. So if it's like a yellow card incident or whatever, they can't bring it back. So therefore it has to stand is how I interpret it. So I think by the book, they did it right. And I feel like, I don't know.
What would you call that conduct then, if not violent? The hair pulling?
I also don't think, I think Cucurella's going.
It's a foul. No. I think it's a foul. I think because that corner they didn't score on, right? And
no,
so
yeah, it was the preceding corner.
Yeah. And so since they didn't score on that corner, and it's a foul that was missed, like for sure. It's a foul that was missed, but since it didn't lead to a goal scoring opportunity and it was the next one that was, then you can't go back and VAR that. I mean, sure, that could be an Anthony Taylor missed call. Like, I think it was a foul. I don't think it was violent conduct. I think it's a part of the body. You could look at, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It was,
it's like
it's one of those orange card situations for me. Or hair, or like arm or leg or whatever it is. And it kind of sucks if you have that long hair. I don't know. So it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? And so.
Like, all that reminds me of is in American football from, I don't know if you ever watched Ricky Williams play, but he had these huge dreads. He would get tackled by his dreads all the time. That's what it reminded me of, but definitely not violent conduct or anything.
I just think, I don't know.
They also changed the rule in American football.
Yeah.
I also just don't think it was as aggressive as it looks. I think Cucurella is practically going to the ground anyways, trying to win a foul.
I disagree. I think what we talk about with red cards all the time is also intent, which is, I don't know how you judge that. Romero is intending to pull him down by his hair. That I think it's a red card.
Is that not just a foul in the box though? Is it like
No.
would that be the same as like an intentional? Let's say they were off the cuff too, and then Cucurella pushes. We've seen players violently shove like completely, and players fall to the ground and get yellows, but never like a straight red for something like that. That's what I equate it to, a very harsh, like two-handed like shove and whoa, like going down to the ground. I think you see that it never really given a straight red unless it's to the face, it's to the hair. I don't know. It's very. There needs to be a rule change, but I personally.
It's not a soccer play, let's just say that. And it was very intentional. What Romero did was to yank him down by his hair. Like,
same thing with like a random push, like off the play, if a whistle is blown dead or something like that. That isn't a soccer play. Is it a shove? Because those aren't soccer plays either, but they happen every single week.
Yeah, but they're not violent necessarily. The intent isn't to put someone on the ground to gain an advantage for a corner kick.
Only violent conduct
Malicious.
in my head is a headbutt.
Malicious,
into the
I think,
chest
is
by
the word.
Zidane.
Malicious is the word. I like the physicality of the game, and I like that referees are letting things play more. It's definitely a foul. If it's to the book, I don't know what the book says. If it's not a red, then it is what it is. But there's a lot of question marks there. That's a slippery slope, the way you said it, Steve. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot. If you're going to put things in that bracket, that's a very slippery slope for what is and what's not a foul. So
slugfest, baby. Let's go.
Sure.
aside from the fouls and then whatever missed calls, the drama between Conte and Tuchel was something that you had popcorn popping for. I mean, it started with the Chelsea goal. I think was the Chelsea goal or the Højbjerg goal. I think it was Højbjerg scoring that Conte sort of went to the Chelsea bench and tempers flared a bit. They both got shown yellows. And then Tuchel, when Chelsea scored the go-ahead goal, 2-1, him running down the sideline, had to have gotten on Conte's nerves. And so at full time, you had the two guys going for the handshakes, and Conte is ready to walk past Tuchel. Tuchel holds on to him, and you just see everything go wild from there. Seemed like some old like Mourinho things that we would see with him or Wenger, old-fashioned soccer, it felt like. Is this now the rivalry to watch this season between these two managers?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. I mean, you look at the Battle of the Bridge that cost Tottenham the title that year, finishing second. The blood between Chelsea and Tottenham has never been smooth. A part of me feels like I love the reaction from the coaches. I think it's overreaction from the officials of both managers getting reds. I think that's kind of silly, honestly. And both managers at the end of the game had no ill words to really say to each other either. So I think they're both managers that are very animated and that love football. I think both of them, their press conferences were fantastic of just saying, yeah, like we like soccer. Like we like the game. We want our team to win. There wasn't any personal insults hurled, I think is what Tuchel had said. So it wasn't personal. It was just good football. And I think the red cards are a shame to see. I don't think they're impeding anything on the game. It wasn't like any punches were thrown. It was guys yelling at each other. I look at like a benches clearing brawl in baseball. It's like it's pushing and shoving and you want to see it. But I don't know. Suspensions were a little much. Rivalry to see, yes. I think we meet up with them in February, and it's going to be spicy.
Steve, you want to go?
Yeah, I can open a credit card.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it is, but I think there is one game, probably the most important game of the year for Tottenham, and another team that might be even more intriguing. Jacob, do you know what I'm talking about? The North London Derby. Arteta versus Conte, I think, could get very spicy as well, and I'm so excited for that game. Oh, my God.
So I've never seen a crease in Arteta's face. I don't think he can express emotion.
Oh my God. Jacob, who do you have winning in a boxing match, Conte or Tuchel?
Definitely Tuchel. I don't know if you saw I don't know if you saw that handshake, but talk about violent conduct. Yeah.
That grip.
That had a vice grip on Conte. Conte was trying to run. He said, "No thanks. Let me give you a piece of my mind, even though you don't understand German. I'm just going to yell at you in broken English, and we're both going to yell at each other in broken English." It's great. He's also got that speed. If you saw him sprinting down the sidelines after that second goal, man's elusive. He's quick on his feet. I like him dodge, duck, and weave, and he's got that grip strength power. So that's what I'm taking. But obviously, it depends on if it's a fair fight or if it's prison.
Brandon, who would you be more scared of to have yelling at you, the German or the Italian?
Conte. I couldn't look Conte in his eyes, I don't think. No chance.
Yeah, I think Conte actually like boxed one of his players. Y'all remember that at Inter?
Oh yeah.
Was it Lukaku or was it Lautaro or someone?
Yeah, one of them. After they won the Serie A.
So I mean, yeah, Conte has got the experience.
I just saw that video. Yeah, Lukaku was like the announcer, but I think he boxed Lautaro. Yeah,
I've got Conte in that one. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome to see, both London derbies. Obviously, we had 2 legs to play against Arsenal. Coming off of last season, you lost 3-0 or 3-1 or 3, whatever it was. You lost at Arsenal last season. You won back at Tottenham Stadium in May. And so, yeah, this season's going to be huge, and both London teams coming against Chelsea and Arsenal, they're going to be competing for the same spot, so every point matters. So I'm really, really excited to see what this season brings. We'll kind of briefly run through some of the other Premier League games. Brandon, your team, Aston Villa, took on Everton, got their first win of the season, 2-1. What this one looked like for you real quick, and how do they move on from a big injury?
Yeah, Villa played pretty well. Not everything's clicking quite yet, but obviously a win's a win, and we'll take that. Kamara in the midfield, the young midfielder, holding midfielder, the French. He's absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing. Best player on the day, best player on the field. We will sell him for 80 million in 3 years to probably PSG, to be completely honest. He is that good, and he's young, and I'm super excited for him. But Diego Carlos, the signing that I said Villa was going to have a good year, it was going to be because of him, is out for the rest of the year with an Achilles injury. absolutely tragic. It was towards the end of the game too. I'm not sure what Villa's going to do to replace Diego Carlos. It's sort of late in the transfer window. You can't really go. You don't want to go splash 30 million again on another center back somewhere, and who's going to be willing to give one up? That's of that ilk. So I'm not really sure. We have a kid on the bench named Josh Feeney. He's 17 years old. He's already 6'4", and he's been in the game day squad since towards the end of last season, I believe. I think we keep him. We already have people with Premier League experience, obviously Tyrone Mings and Ezri Konsa, both good pairings. They played together for the last 2 years. I think we can get to January at least with what we have. And then I think we go and try to get somebody in January to try to replace Diego Carlos and hopefully make our team better and hopefully be pushing into 7th place.
Yeah. And Everton still no points yet this season. They take on Nottingham Forest next. Nottingham Forest got a 1-0 win over West Ham. Jesse Lingard playing for this team that's hoping to stay up this season. Do we expect much from Nottingham Forest moving forward, boys?
Yes. And I'll get to why in a minute.
Cool.
I want to hear Jacob's take on Nottingham Forest.
We'll get there in a second. Hold on. Brighton, Newcastle, that one ended 0-0. Nick Pope, I think, kept Newcastle in that game. So they walked away with a draw on that one. Man City walked all over Bournemouth 4-0. I think it was 3-0 in the first half, so just no trouble with them at all. Man City obviously coming out to be early favorites. And then I do want to touch on this one a little bit before we get to some overreactions from the Premier League so far. But Liverpool and Palace, Jacob, you mentioned a little bit. You watched this one today as we recorded this, that Liverpool drew 1-1 against Crystal Palace. Zaha getting the early counterattack goal. And Luis Diaz cutting in from the left side, cutting to the top of the box with a beautifully executed goal to level with Palace. And then obviously the big red card in like the 70th minute or so. And Liverpool holds on to get the draw. But here's the thing. And I want to get on this one. It's time for some overreactions. Is it time to worry about Liverpool? Are we worried that they can't recover from this slow start to compete for the title race? What do you guys think?
Jacob, you go first.
It sounds like it's going to be us and Liverpool in a relegation battle at the bottom of the table.
That's an overreaction.
They barely squeaked out.
It's a United fan
against two of the worst clubs in the Premier League. Fulham just got promoted. Got very lucky to tie it up at 2-2 and save a point. And then Crystal Palace, clearly from just the lack of nuts from the manager Vieira, to go ahead and try to win the game when you're up a man instead of sitting back and playing scared. I think Crystal Palace fully deserved to give up that goal. I mean, you can't just sit back and try to play defense against 10 men instead of going for the win. But anyways, I think Liverpool has a ton of injuries right now. It's like their entire midfield pretty much is banged up, and they're also missing Konate and Matip in the back. But it is interesting to see, even with that front three of Nunez and Salah and Diaz, that they haven't been meshing super well. I don't think. I think it might take a little bit of time for Nunez to get comfortable in the system. And something that was interesting is they looked, far more dangerous and better when he came off after the red card, which was crazy to see that they just needed one less guy on the field. But then it started to look like old Liverpool. All the players were like, oh, yeah, we know how to do this. We don't have to try to feed the ball to our brand new summer signing. Like, they were just pressing. They were winning the ball. They were whipping balls in. Everyone was making correct runs. And, it took individual brilliance from Diaz to get that goal, but they had so many chances to get a winner. So I think it's just going to, they're banged up. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get some guys back, but maybe this puts them out of the title race just from, I think you're going to see a couple more results like this, to be honest, a couple more draws, some drop points. So maybe they're not going to be able to overcome it and challenge City this year. But we'll see.
Steven, is it quickly, yes, no, is it too much of an overreaction to say that these 2 draws take them out of the title race?
Nope, not an overreaction. Liverpool fans should be scared.
Brandon?
I do agree. You start looking at Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, even Aston Villa has a better midfield at the moment. So I don't think you hit the panic button because, like I said in another episode, Liverpool hit a run where they go unbeaten for the rest of the year. So I will start worrying if Liverpool start losing games and they can't seem to like be consistent and winning. If they lose their next game, for example, and then they go and tie the next one, then they're definitely out of the title race. And then you start thinking about top 4. With how hungry Arsenal is, Tottenham and Chelsea. I already think Man City's won the league, but I think Liverpool can still recover if that's your question.
Yeah. And what would your overreaction be so far from the league?
Me? I've joked about it, but Manchester United might be in a relegation battle come December.
Oh, man.
No, that is an overreaction, but
that is an overreaction. Yeah, I definitely think they are on their way out of Europe, but yeah, not in a relegation battle. Steven, what's your overreaction from the first 2 match weeks so far?
So on the show, we had somebody that predicted that Leeds is going to get relegated in our Premier League predictions. I don't know who it was. I think Leeds front 4 are dangerous. Patrick Bamford, Rodrigo with the brace, not Bamford, Aronson, and you also got Jackie Harrison. That's a front 4 that's meshing well. No, it was me. I thought Leeds was going to get relegated. My overreaction after week number 2 seems to be working. It's early, hence the overreaction, but they look good. They look dangerous. Aronson's been flying. And this is a team with Tyler Adams and Rocca, I believe is the other midfielder, holding midfielder's name. It's not just throwing the kitchen sink at every game like Bielsa was doing. You can see what Jesse Marsch is trying to do. Seems to be working. And that's my reaction. I think that they could be safe. That front 4 again, Aronson, like Jack Harrison, Bamford, Rodrigo scoring 2 goals this week was my reason for their reaction. If that's going to happen from their midfield, I don't know if Liverpool will have a single midfielder with 2 goals this entire year. It's not going to be Milner.
That's facts. Jacob, if you could have an overreaction from the season so far, where would you land?
Yeah, I think just straight up from the football that I've seen so far, it looks like both Brighton and Brentford are probably going to finish top 4. I think when you're able to take down a quality opponent and dominate from start to finish, it just shows how solid the team is. And I think we're going to see them really pushing City this year.
Hey,
coming in with a lot of ego here, Jacob, for the first episode on The Bad Fan.
Coming in real hot. Hey, honestly, Brighton could challenge for that Europa Conference League if they stay healthy and continue to fly. I'll give
goals. They need to
I'll
score
give credit
goals.
there. Yeah, I'll give some credit
there. Brentford too, man. They are so solid. Everyone knows what they're doing. I've been watching a lot of videos on their whole philosophy and how they kind of got a Moneyball thing going. And whoever the Brad Pitt is,
YouTube video from 2 years ago.
No. Whoever the Brad Pitt is over there and whoever the Jonah Hill is over there are killing it. And again, top 4 challengers. We'll see.
I love it. Couple of things as we start to wind down today on The Bad Fan. Some transfer updates. We did mention last episode Barcelona's drama. They were able to settle after pulling that lever. Kronk pulled it, and they were able to get their signings through for the season. We have Giovanni Lo Celso from Tottenham going back on loan to Villarreal. Nottingham Forest had made some signings. Brandon, you got the deets on that one?
I will, because Nottingham Forest, I guess, is my team this year because no one else thinks they're going to stay up but me. They completed their 13th and 14th signing of the summer. Emmanuel Dennis from Watford, which is probably their best signing of the summer so far for about $20 million. And then Sheik Kouyaté? I just know Kouyaté, the defender from Crystal Palace, on a free. A veteran center back who's going to, I don't know if shore up your defense is the word, but definitely give you a better presence back there. And they're linked to more. The names of Houssem Ouar, who was linked with Arsenal last year. He plays for Lyon. He's a midfielder. You might know him from some Champions League, amazing moments, FIFA. Very, very good player. And I would be shocked if he went to Nottingham Forest. Bakayoko from AC Milan, another midfielder. And Neil Maupay from Brighton, who I think would be a wonderful, wonderful signing. I watched the Nottingham Forest West Ham game. Nottingham Forest striker came from Steve's German team, Union Berlin, and is not very good. Looks like a baby deer and doesn't know how to really kick a ball all too well, but is big, strong, and has a little bit of speed. I think Neil Maupay would be a pretty good signing for them. I have a question for you all. Are you any more convinced with these signings and any of these links that they will stay up? And after a win, will they stay up? Jacob.
Yeah, I think after they made the two best signings that they've made from the summer, which was bringing in Jesse Lingard and getting Dean Henderson on a loan.
That's true.
That it was pretty much guaranteed they were going to stay up.
Excellent point.
And I think, I'm just getting really jealous looking at the words 13 and 14th signing of the summer. It's just really turning the knife a little bit right now. Golly.
Yeah.
But no, it's exciting to see that they're being successful, and more power to them.
That striker that you're making fun of had a beautifully, expertly finished goal, which put West Ham away. That was a deflection off his knee. But honestly, looking at Dean Henderson being the goalkeeper for Nottingham, that's going to be huge. We saw what he did for Sheffield. This is a guy that I'm sure a lot of United fans wouldn't mind to be starting for their club. So I don't know. I mean, clean sheets are going to be huge. I mean, you stay up in the Premier League after getting promoted from the Championship with points. And guess what? For you Americans out there, draws are a point. So, he's going to be huge this year.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that. I had Fulham staying up over them, and because I'm stubborn, I'll stick with my pick because I have to.
They can both stay up. Like I said,
they could but then people talk about Brentford. I think Brentford's pretty solid too. So
Steve,
I don't know. I got Fulham over Nottingham Forest if that's any way to answer it. Okay, we're doing it. All right. Well, that's some transfer updates from around the Premier League and a little bit. Actually, hey, one more, Steven. Big news from Tottenham. It's not official, but Tanguy Ndombele linked to Napoli on a move. Up to release or an optional buy clause of 30 million. Not too bad. Some dead weight that you want.
Really? I was even looking before filming that Villarreal was thinking about double dipping and taking on Ndombele and Lo Celso. But that's great too. It's not Tottenham.
I know. So maybe loan with option to buy for 30 million to Napoli is what I've seen. Crazy things happen at Spez. And the last thing, as we wrapped up across the pond back to MLS, we had the MLS Fast 5 this past weekend. We started out with Cincinnati and Atlanta. That one finished 2-2. I had that one. Brandon and Steven both didn't. Vasquez, he scored again. Just so good. Amada had a banger. And then Gutman coming in late, once again, back-to-back games to equalize for Atlanta. Philadelphia, Chicago, that was 4-1 in favor of Union. I had 1-0. Brand, you had 3-0. Steven had a 1-1 draw. So where we get 1 point for getting the result, but maybe not the score right. And Miami NYCFC, I had a 1-1 draw. Brandon 2-1. Steven 1-2 loss. Brandon gets a point for getting the win for Miami. LA Galaxy, Vancouver, that was 5-2. High scoring affair for the Galaxy. That one pushes them up to 6th in the West. Diego Costa, what's he doing in Galaxy? Is he really even on the team anymore? Hard to say. I had Galaxy win that one 2-0, Brandon as well. Steven, all three of us getting a win for the Galaxy. And then the last one in the Fast Five was New York Red Bull versus Orlando. I had 2-2 draw. I said Gonzalo Higuain would score. I don't think he did because Orlando has 0 goals. Brandon 1-0.
Actually, I misread that one. Orlando did win that game.
Yeah, Orlando won.
That's on me.
I said that.
That's on me.
I said that.
My bag. Okay.
Editing error. That's on me, y'all.
Okay. So that does move Orlando up to 6, and that means they're 4 points ahead of Atlanta, who are in 13th. So again, we've been reiterating the fact that the East is so tight, with only 9 or 10 games left. So anything can happen out in the East. So keep your eyes peeled to that. But guys, that's about gonna wrap things up on the Bad Fan today. We had a ton of fun talking mostly about Man U's troubles, the Chelsea Tottenham affair, and a little bit more. But loved having you on, Jacob, Steven, Brandon, and myself. Always fun to have the Bad Fan on together. The quartet today, a special thing. But yeah, support our coverage of things like the Premier League and other soccer news by becoming a Bad Fan, subscribing through clicking the bell below this video. That way you're always notified to see new episodes like this one from us. Leave it a like, leave a comment. What's your biggest overreaction so far? What teams are going to get relegated? Or maybe, what do you think of the Man United drama? Are they going to stay up as well? Who knows? Interact with us on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us there with your biggest reactions. And yeah, I've been Cole Carter. It's been Steven. It's been Brandon. And it's been Jacob. And we've all been together on the Bad Fan today. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace out.